The New York Islanders didn't really show up in an embarrassing 7-1 loss to the Buffalo Sabres. We'll talk about what went wrong and what needs to change for this team coming up next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's show is sponsored by FanDuel. You could start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $250 in bonus bets. If you win that first $5 bet, visit FanDuel.com to get started. The New York Islanders, we were so happy after Saturday's game, where they were healthy again. Anthony Duclair back in the lineup. They played determined, smart, disciplined hockey, and they beat the Maple Leafs 6-3. Seemingly doing so many of the things they had failed to do all season long. Well, guess what? Even a broken clock is right twice a day. This team followed up that really good road effort with an embarrassing, pathetic, terrible performance on home ice against a Buffalo Sabres team that had lost its last 13 games, including 6 in a row in regulation. This Buffalo Sabres team that couldn't get out of its own way. And the Islanders made them look really good on Monday night. This was unacceptable from the minute the puck was dropped. You want to know what the highlight of the game was for the Islanders? I mean, you could say, okay, yeah, Anthony Duclair made a beautiful pass to set up the only goal by Kyle Palmieri, and he did, but that wasn't the highlight. By then, the game was over. The highlight of the night for Islander fans was the chant of support for former Islanders goalie Robin Lehner, who, unfortunately, based on some posts on social media, seems to be going through a very difficult time. And Islander fans spontaneously, well, maybe not spontaneously, but Islander fans were determined before the game to chant support for Lehner, a class move by the fans who organized it. And we all send well wishes to Robin Lehner that he gets through what appears to be this very difficult time. But you know what? That was the highlight of this night for New York Islanders fans. This game was an embarrassment. And I don't even know where to begin, because all the things that the Islanders struggled with all year long came up again. Gave up the first goal again, only took 2 minutes and 7 seconds for that to happen. Penalty kill, bad. Gave up one power play goal. Another goal was scored like 2 or 3 seconds after a power play expired. So technically it was 5-on-5, but realistically, because of the power play, the Islanders' power play did absolutely nothing. We saw a lot of sloppy, bad penalties taken throughout this game. And again, just the inability of the New York Islanders to clear the zone, the inability to get out of their own way. How long was Buffalo a team that, like I said, has been dreadful all month? They hadn't won since Thanksgiving, since American Thanksgiving. That's 4 weeks ago. And boy, they looked like the second coming of the Wayne Gretzky era Edmonton Oilers. The Islanders just played dreadful hockey. And there was only one player out of 18 skaters on the ice who was even in this game, and that was Brock Nelson. And that is not to say that Brock Nelson played well. I can handle the fact that a team is struggling. I can handle the fact that you're not going to have your A game all 82 times you take the ice during the course of a regular season. I can handle that there are going to be some stinkers, okay? But I cannot handle the apparent indifference. The fact that this team did not come to play on this night. That from the drop of the puck, it was clear, perfectly clear, which team was the better team. And it sure as heck wasn't the New York Islanders. And after each period, the Islanders were booed off the ice. In the first period, they had only 5 shots on goal. Penalty kill, brutal. In the second period, 2 of those goals directly off of terrible turnovers. And, I am not a big fan of Patrick Waugh pulling his goalie with 5 minutes left in the game and the Islanders down 2 or 3 goals. I generally think it's a low percentage move. He did it in this game, and it was 5-1 with 12 minutes left in the game. And you know what? It didn't matter. I didn't care because there was absolutely nothing left to give. This team just played like they didn't care. Look, fans are paying hundreds of dollars when you add up ticket prices, parking, overpriced food and drinks, and for some people, train fare and souvenirs and whatever else it costs to attend a hockey game. I don't expect the Islanders to go 41-0-0 at home, but I expect effort. The one thing you can always control is effort. You can't control injuries. You can't be perfect. You're going to make your mistakes. Fine. But don't play like it looks like you don't care. And I'm not saying these players don't care, but it looks like they don't care. The effort just wasn't there, and that is just flat out unacceptable. And, who do you point a finger at in a game like this? You could say, okay, the players they were flat. They came out completely indifferent. They were a step slower from the very first drop of the puck. You could blame the coaches because, you know what? Why isn't the team motivated? Now, this is a veteran team. They should not need rah-rah locker room speeches to get motivated. But if you can't get excited for a game after you just pull off that inspiring win in Toronto, you're going to tell me the Islanders left all their talent and effort on the ice in Toronto on Saturday and had nothing left, that they were already on Christmas break before the last game was played? This team is not talented enough and is not high up enough in the standings to take a night off, to cash in the chips before the holiday break begins. And you know where the Islanders are now, 35 games into the season, heading into the holiday break? 8th place in the Metropolitan Division. They are tied with the Rangers for 7th, But the Rangers have a game in hand, and we all know how terrible the Rangers have been playing lately, and yet the Islanders are below them in the standings. It's enough. Whether you blame the players, the coaches, the general manager, honestly, it's a combination because it just cannot be this way. Fans work hard to go to a game to be entertained. Players owe the fans an effort, and they owe them the idea that they should play entertaining hockey. This isn't it. This team just isn't good enough. And I can handle losing sometimes. I can handle an off game. I cannot handle a lack of effort. And that's what we saw against Buffalo. This team, from Lou Lamoriello, actually, let's go higher, from ownership, Malkin and Ledecky, to Lou Lamoriello, to Patrick Waugh, to the assistant coaches, to the players on the ice, they should all be embarrassed and ashamed of the way they played last night against the Buffalo Sabres. This is unacceptable. And the fans voiced their displeasure and their frustration at the end of every period. There were Lou must go chants during major parts of this game, and it just was ugly. And oh yeah, Ilya Sorokin, can't say he was terrible in this game, can't say he was good. They hung him out to dry again. This is just unacceptable. And changes have to be coming sooner rather than later, because there is nothing redeeming about this kind of performance. We have got more to get to. We're going to talk a little bit more about this game. We are going to talk about our hero and GOAT of the game and just try to figure out where we go from here. We've got that. We have a very hard Islanders birthday of the day. I'll give you the clue, but this guy only played 3 games for the Islanders in 1996-97. He's probably better known to New York area fans as a member of the Devils. He attended Lake Superior State University for 4 years. And, well, that's the clue, basically. So let's see if anybody can get that. We've got all that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. And now you can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. This week on Prize Picks, looking at the hockey board, Jack Hughes for more than 4 shots on goal, or Terry Panarin for more than 1 assist. It's simple to make my picks and have fun with friends while potentially cashing out fast. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks, run your game. This game was just embarrassing. And, you know, there is no hero of this game. I can say Kyle Palmieri for the goal, or Anthony Duclair for that beautiful pass to set up the goal. But no, I mean, I'm going to give hero of the game to the fans for the Robin Lehner chant. Go to the game, the lack of effort. Team-wide, top to bottom. And where do you begin? Ryan Polak, -4 in this game. Adam Pelech, just not playing the way he was. And yeah, he was hurt. He missed a lot of time. I get it. But boy, oh boy. Just make the simple play. You know, Saturday night in Toronto, the Islanders made the simple play, the smart play, the direct play. They cleared the zone. They didn't do that against the Sabres. They didn't do it at all. And you just cannot have a game where you embarrass yourself like that. And that's what this team did. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. Every line gave up more goals than obviously they scored. Every player has to look himself in the mirror and say, you know what? This isn't good enough. And this kind of play is just embarrassing. And you couldn't you couldn't roll 4 lines the way Patrick Waugh did Saturday night when there were no penalties. We know that wasn't going to be. But who played well in this game? I mentioned the nice pass by Duclair. Simon Holmstrom had a couple of good moments on the forecheck, but let me tell you, you look at this team. Kyle Palmieri over 30. Anders Lee, J.G. Pajot, Brock Nelson, Casey Cizikas, Pelech, Polak, Mayfield, Varlamov when he's healthy. Horvat is what, 29? Duclair, 29? This team is not going to get better anytime soon. And if you're looking for young players who can help right away, they're not there. They're just not there. Go take a look at Bridgeport. Go take a look at what's going on in Bridgeport right now. Because the Bridgeport Islanders, no better. 6-18-4. 16 points in 28 games. Last place in their division by 11 points. And it's just, Christmas week here. Hanukkah week, Christmas week. Give me a break. Give me a break. There is just, who are you going to bring up? Alex Jeffries, maybe. Maybe he's ready next year. The way this team is constructed, it's just not good enough. And you got to play like you care. When the fans appear to care more than the organization and the players, something's wrong with this picture. Something is really wrong with this picture. And yeah, you could talk to me about, okay, Gil, season's not over yet. And you'd be right. The season's not over yet. And, you could say to me, okay, the Islanders are in 8th place right now in the Metro. But, they're only 5 points out of a playoff berth. Granted that Ottawa has a game in hand, but you're telling me that they can't make up 5 points? Oh, yeah, they can make up 5 points. They also have to pass 5 teams. So they don't just have to make up the 5 points. They have to pass 5 or 6 teams to get there. And the way this team is playing, there is no way they're going to put together that kind of a winning streak. You're going to need, with 47 games left, so you have a maximum of 94 points. You're going to need at least 60 to 65 points. You know, the Islanders have 33 points. They get 60 points, they'll have 93. You probably need about 95 to make the playoffs. This team does not have the talent, the drive, the consistency. It doesn't have what it takes to play well enough to do that. We have to face reality. We have to face reality. This team, their flaws are just, we are at the point where these flaws are too big to overcome. And even if they make the playoffs, even if they play better down the stretch, we're looking at another first round exit. Maybe you win a game, maybe you win 2. A lot has to change here on Long Island. We're going to talk about that and a lot more, plus our Islanders' birthday of the day, coming up next on the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. And folks, FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's exciting. And Islander fans, use your knowledge of the Islanders to place some really exciting bets on FanDuel. Don't forget, home and home with Pittsburgh coming up for the Islanders after the holiday break. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert. Get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from hosts Steele and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So what has to change? A lot. A lot. I think we have to start at the top. We need a new GM. I respect Lou Lamoriello. I respect what he's accomplished over the course of his career. He's in the Hall of Fame and belongs in the Hall of Fame. But he hasn't done enough to get ahead of the curve with this Islanders team. Hiring Barry Trotz and building this team up the way he did when he first arrived worked. But since then, and everydayers, you know I've been saying this on the show for a long time. He's chasing his tail to try to squeak into the playoffs, knowing that the way this team is constructed, they are not a serious cup contender. And trading away 4 years in a row first-round picks, trading away prospects like Atu Ratu, failing to develop prospects like Samuel Bolduc, like Oliver Wahlstrom, failing to stock Bridgeport and stock the organization with younger, faster, more skilled players who could take the place of some of these guys who are aging, the bad contracts, the no trade clauses, the 7-year deals for third line wingers and third pair defensemen. Look, I love these players, but in hockey and in all sports, it's always better to get rid of a player a year too soon than a year too late. And with Lou, the way things are going, it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years too late on some of these guys. And he just keeps doubling down. He says, I will not retool. I don't believe in retooling. I don't believe in rebuilding. Well, if that's your approach when you leave, Lou, and hopefully ownership will do that soon, you're going to leave a bigger mess for your successor than what we already seen. And I will say this. I don't like mid-season changes, but if Lou Lamoriello is still the GM at the trade deadline, he has to only do what ownership tells him to do. And that cannot be acquiring a player and trading away more picks or prospects. And it cannot be a sign and trade where you add a 30-year-old guy, sign him to another 7-year deal with a no trade clause. No. You got to start trading away players and adding picks and prospects. Or younger players, younger NHL-ready guys. All good. But that has to be done. And I'll say this. Lou Lamoriello cannot come back and continue to run this team unless he's willing to do that retool or rebuild. And I'm beginning to wonder right now if this group is just not responding to Patrick Waugh. They were flat again. They were bad against Chicago in 2 games. Won one of them barely. You can't lay these kind of eggs. There are too many bad no-show performances from this team. And if you can't follow up, you got 1 game and then you're off for 4 days. And it's the holidays and you're in front of your home crowd and you're playing a team that's lost 13 games in a row and you're telling me you can't even show an effort? If we get a new GM, he may want to bring in his a new coach. Or maybe Patrick Waugh wants to be the GM and he hires his own coach. I don't know. But the GM has to be changed. The coach may have to be changed. And a lot of players need to be sent out. And this team needs to get younger, faster, more skilled. And it's going to take time. But I think that fans will be more likely to stay with this team and buy tickets for this team if there's hope for the future with young players, players who are giving 100% every game, who come to play every night, even if they have lost 5 games in a row. Players who we know in a year or 2 or 3 will be better than they are now, not falling worse and as they age. And, you know, there is fun and entertainment value in watching young players get better and develop and become really good. Changes have to be made. Oh, I hate doing this right before the holidays. I really, really do. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And, Wednesday, Christmas Day, is the 56th birthday of former Islanders center Jim Dowd, the native of Brick, New Jersey, 8th-round pick of the Devils back in 1987. Made his NHL debut in the 91-92 season. Played for the Devils Stanley Cup winning team in 94-95. Played 3 games for the Islanders in 96-97. Did not score a point or commit a penalty. Later played for the Flames, Oilers, Wild, Canadiens, Blackhawks, Avalanche, Devils again, and Flyers. For an 8th-round pick, Dowd played in 728 NHL games, 71 goals, 239 points, 390 penalty minutes, add 9 goals, 26 points in 99 playoff games. None with the Islanders. One of his better games with the Islanders, October 5th, 1996, Islanders in San Jose against the Sharks. Tommy Salo in goal for the Islanders, Chris Terreri for San Jose. Islanders and Sharks skate to a 2-2 tie. Jim Dowd, well, let's just say he played in the game because, again, in 3 games with the Islanders, no goals, no assists, no penalty minutes. Dan Plant scored a shorthanded goal. Derek King at even strength. And the Islanders end up with a 2-2 tie. Salo with 21 saves in this game. But Jim Dowd, only briefly an Islander, he is our Islanders' birthday of the day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Everydayers, we're back tomorrow. Yeah, it'll be Christmas Day. We've got a special show for you, though. Hadi Kalakesh of Locked On NHL Prospects will join us to discuss the Islanders' prospects, including guys like Isaiah George, who are in the NHL, guys who are down at Bridgeport, and guys who are playing in college like Cole Iserman, and playing at World Juniors. So we're going to talk about all that tomorrow. I want to wish everyone who celebrates a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah and a Happy Kwanzaa to those who celebrate that. Wishing everyone all the best this holiday season. If you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You could also follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars NYR VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game, so join me for some instant insight and analysis. Enjoy the holidays, everybody. Let's hope that there will be some changes coming and some better hockey ahead of us. We will be here every day this week with some special shows, so make sure you join us for those. Until then, stay safe, have a great holiday, and of course, let's go Islanders.